Hey guys, welcome back to Sparkman Homestead. My name is Krista and today is amazing outside. It is absolutely gorgeous. The sun is out and I think we're supposed to be getting into the 60s today, so super happy about that. And it has definitely recharged my mood. I have been in the greenhouse this morning, just kind of getting a couple of things together that I'm actually selling on our local Facebook marketplace. We just have some extra gardening stuff that I just need to get rid of. So I was kind of doing that today and my greenhouse was in the 80s. I'm going to take you guys out and actually we'll take a look because I do want to show you a project that we have been working on this weekend, or not us, Steven started the project this weekend. We've kind of been spending the weekend outside because it was super gorgeous out. It wasn't like warm by any means and it was kind of like overcast a little bit, but it was nice enough that we could actually work outside and not be uncomfortable. So we got a couple of things done outside. So one of the projects that Steven actually started yesterday was this. We have a friend that works for a company that has all of these extra 55-gallon water drums. All they keep in here is actually distilled water. So he gave us about 3 of them. So what we're doing is we are just drilling a little bit of a hole, and I say we, and I'm not saying we, I'm meaning Steven. He is drilling a little hole here, and this actually has to be re-glued because this is not sticking well. But we bought a little tiny faucet. I think it was either $5 or $12 at Lowe's, I can't remember. We just drill a little hole in there, and then the top of the barrel has these little things you can just screw off, and then we're going to put a little bit of a screen there. I'll take you out and I'll show you how we did it with the chickens, but this one is actually going to go into my garden. I want to be able to water my garden with rainwater versus tap water because tap water, you know, it's got all that yucky stuff in it. So I figure if I have a rain barrel in my garden, then I can use that to water some of it. It's not going to be able to provide me with enough water to do all of the garden, but at least it will supplement a little bit. And I want to put another one of these rain barrels. I would like to put it right here so that I can get gardening water to that back area. The girls are super happy with the sun today. This is what it looks like for the chickens. We actually use this to give the chickens their water because I don't have a water source this far out here. So this is what we use. And so we just unscrew that top here. We put a little bit of a screen on it and we set up a eavesdrop system here so that the rainwater just falls into here. And then we just have it like this. And then water comes out of there. Now I put a tap on here just so that I can get it in and out of buckets, but that's perfect. So we're gonna do that over in our garden area. There's the girls and Richard. They're certainly happier now that the sun is out and it's a little bit dry in there. That's kind of their hangout spot in the back over there. And in the summer, all of these trees have leaves on them, so they have a lot of shade back here. They're not in full sun. Oh, they're fighting over there. There's one that's hopefully not laying an egg right there. I don't know if you can see her. She's in the shade. I really don't want her to be laying there. She may be dust bathing. I'm not sure. Yeah, the plan is to, well, I would like to have a gutter system on this horse barn and then have another rain barrel right here so that I can just run a hose right to this back garden here. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably already seen this because I did post a story this morning just kind of explaining what we were doing out here. But this is our back garden, and I know I've showed you guys before all of the rain that kind of collects here. I got one raised bed back here. I'm going to add a couple bags of compost on top of that because that's obviously not enough. But yeah, we're going to start putting, so we have plans to get those raised beds back here. There's a bird over there that's not happy with my location right now. So we got that raised bed moved. It was actually over there closer to the house and it had a whole bunch of flowers in it that it was in a too bit much of a shaded spot. So we moved that this weekend. We actually fixed around our storm shelter. I don't know if you can see, we have a retaining wall, and it was actually starting to bow because we didn't install it the right way. So we had to fix that this weekend. I just want to look over here and take a look and see if my lettuce has grown a little bit, because I'm thinking I might want to fix some. It's not really big enough yet. Still too small to harvest. We are supposed to get some pretty nice weather this week, so that'll probably grow a little bit bigger, and then maybe I'll be able to harvest it this weekend, because I am missing lettuce. I'm missing salad. So let's take a look in the greenhouse and see how warm it is out here. What is it? Look, you guys, it's almost 100 in this greenhouse. I'm not too concerned right now with opening the windows in here because I don't have any of my starts in here, and I'm probably not going to have my starts in here again until probably March, and then even then we will still definitely get some freezing nights. So I will end up, I have this little space heater in here, so I'll end up using that. I did spend a little bit of time in here getting some seeds started, and I'll take you guys in and I'll show you that. Let's take a look and see what these guys look like. I checked this morning, and like I said, I posted it on my Instagram, but guys, I don't know if you can see it, but look at that. They are all starting to come up. I'm super happy. Nothing else is coming up. I've got my peppers started in this tray over here, and these are basically my herbs in this one over here. Chamomile or calamine needs to have light to germinate, so that's why I have the lights on there, and I will have to keep the domes on those because only the calamine is the only one that has germinated, so I need to keep the humidity level still high in there. So what I'm gonna do today for supper, I took out this chicken a couple of days ago and had it just kind of defrosting in my fridge, so we are going to smoke this chicken today. And I think Steve actually put the smoker away, so I will have to go out and get it back out. Steven is not a huge fan of roasted chicken. He just thinks it's really bland and it has no flavor. So I am going to smoke it, and then hopefully it might change his mind. And then what I'm gonna do with the leftover chicken, because obviously there's just the two of us right now, we're not gonna eat whole chicken. We went to a local farmer's market on Saturday. I had mentioned in one of my earlier videos that I am still continuing the pantry challenge into the month of February. However, I am allotting us a $25 budget for the month to go and pick up produce from the farmer's market. I'm kind of staying true to not going into a grocery store. I want to make sure that I am supporting our local farmers in our area. So I went and purchased some kale. So I got a bag of fresh kale, and I got a thing of lettuce. I am really, really missing salads. So I picked up a thing of lettuce. So with that leftover chicken, we're gonna have a kind of like a taco chicken salad one night. I'm gonna marinate that chicken with some taco seasoning, and then we're just gonna put it on top of a salad. Really, really looking forward to that night. So far out of the $25 budget that I set for us, we spent $9 on the weekend. So this was $6 and this was $3, which again, I completely do not mind paying these prices because I am supporting a local farmer that is doing same farming practices that I like, that I agree with. So these are both organic, which is amazing. That is my plan for the chicken today. And I also really kind of want to make like a little bit of a treat for dessert. So I'm not sure exactly what I want to do yet. We kind of have a surplus of eggs again. It's just getting to be that time of year now where my older hens are now starting to lay because they're kind of getting over their winter rest, and my younger ones are still full egg production. So we're now starting to get a lot of eggs. I think we're getting about 18 a day. So I really need to do something with some eggs. So I went upstairs because I had to get a video edited that I need to get out for you guys on Tuesday, and I totally lost track of time. It is now almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I will not have time to get that chicken in the smoker. So I'm gonna put it in the oven. I have the oven preheating at 400 degrees. I'm just going to bake the chicken and then that should be fine. I'm just gonna heavily season the chicken and maybe we'll make a gravy to go on top of it. I'm not sure what I'm gonna have for a side yet. Usually with like a roasted chicken, a mashed potato would be super delicious on the side, but if you guys have been following along with my channel, you know that we don't have any fresh potatoes right now. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for a side. But what I am doing right now is I'm just getting an onion chopped up because we're just gonna put the onion inside of the chicken just to add some flavor to it. But I'm gonna get a seasoning mix kind of made to kind of go over top of the chicken. I've just got some garlic powder here. I'm adding about a tablespoon of everything in here because I'm gonna completely cover the bird with this and I'm gonna put a little bit of the seasoning inside the cavity also. So that was onion powder, and now we're gonna get some garlic powder in there. We're gonna put some smoked paprika in. Hopefully that will give it its kind of its smoky taste since we're not actually able to put it on the smoker. I might actually add a little bit more than a tablespoon of that. Again, just because we're trying to achieve that smoky taste. And then I have some brown mustard. Just add some of that in there. And then our just regular salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of this stuff. It's just gonna add a little bit of heat. I actually took a recommendation from Becky over at Acre Homestead. She loves to put this stuff in her in some of her cooking. So I bought it from a local Asian market that we have in Nashville, and I'm just gonna add just a little tiny bit of it because it does add a little bit of heat to it. So we'll do that. I'm doing that instead of adding red pepper flakes because that's normally what I would add in this situation, but we're gonna give this a try. So we're just gonna stir this up just to get everything good and incorporated. Okay. And then we're just gonna put this onion, I just chopped up one onion, and we'll just put it inside the cavity. I'm just gonna wash my hands because I just touched the chicken. Okay, and we want to cover the chicken. This is avocado oil, and I'm just going to kind of cover the chicken so that it browns nicely. I am going to actually turn this chicken around, and I am going to cook it breast side down, and that way the breasts stay more moist. I usually cook it this way, like breast side up, and I found that my breasts always dry out, and the bottom of my chicken is really, really moist. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try to cook it breast side down and see if that maybe helps keep the chicken a little bit more moist. Just putting my seasoning all on top of it. We're gonna put some seasoning in the cavity also. Flip it over because we're gonna cook it breast side down, and then we'll put the rest of the seasoning on top of here. This bird is almost 7 pounds. This was from a batch that we did. I don't think it was our last batch. I think it was the batch before that. But I'm super excited because we actually have some more chicks on the way, and they'll be here at the end of March, so that's exciting. I need to wash my hands now. I'm just gonna add a touch more oil, and because I went and touched that with my hands, a lot of the seasoning actually stuck to my hands. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more salt and pepper on top of this. Now we're gonna stick it in the oven. This is probably gonna take maybe, because it's a pretty big bird, I'm gonna say maybe about an hour, hour and a half. So we'll come and check it at about an hour and see where it's at. I just need to get my flour filled up because I'm running low. I just made a couple batches of sourdough bread, and it's crazy how weather really really does affect the bread, because normally I found this past winter my bread has been like really sticky, and today I made the bread and it was more dense, and I use the exact same measurements because I do it on a scale, and it's just weird. The texture's changed, and it's 100% because of the weather. It's crazy how whenever the weather is outside, it affects how your bread turns out. It's fine. I just added a little bit more moisture to it just to kind of get it to the consistency that I like it. But I have to get my flour refilled up. I'm getting low in this bucket, so I have some more flour coming. I go and pick my Azure order up on Thursday, and I ordered another 50-pound bag of flour. So have some of that coming. In this pantry challenge, we've gone through about 25 pounds of flour so far, and that is strictly from me making breads, all of our baked goods. I usually always make them anyways, but now I'm really ramping it up because we're eating everything from at home. So 25 pounds of flour I've gone through almost so far. It's crazy. Get that put away. So I did the math on how much it costs me per loaf to make some sourdough bread, and I figured in the cost of the flour and then the cost of a percentage of what the salt is that I use, and it actually worked out to be about $1.50, I think, to make a loaf of organic sourdough bread from scratch. I looked at some of the costs for a loaf of organic artisan sourdough bread, and some of them were like $6 a loaf, and I can easily make it for $1.25. So I thought that was really cool. We are in the back pantry area now because I have realized that for dessert, I'm actually not gonna do something. I'm not gonna make an egg dessert. I really should, because these cartons, these are 18 cartons, and they're almost all full eggs. But I'm not feeling an egg dessert today. So what I am feeling though, because the sun is out and I'm feeling summery, I am going to make some peach cobbler. I have 8 of these jars, and I gotta get them used up because peach season will be here sooner than later. So I'm gonna use, usually with peach cobbler, I use 1 to 2 of these, but I'll make a smaller version tonight. So we will use 1 of these. And then I have not had lunch yet, and it is already 2 o'clock. So I think for a quick lunch, I am just going to have some of these southern greens that I canned up. I'm just gonna heat some up and have them on a plate. And then I was thinking, so I have never attempted to do this before, but I have this canned butternut squash here. We canned this last year, and I am thinking that tonight I want to roast some of this up, just kind of like how I would do my roasted potatoes. Just throw it in the oven at 400 degrees, throw some avocado oil on it and some salt and pepper, and just put it in the oven and roast it, kind of like I would a potato. So I'm thinking that I'm gonna use 2 of these jars to do that with, but I just don't know what to do for a vegetable. Oh, I just remembered, I actually have some broccoli. I found 3 bags of broccoli in my freezer yesterday when I was searching for something. So we'll have broccoli tonight. That's what we're gonna do for a side, and we'll do the broccoli. So I have to wait to get this chicken out of the oven. It's probably gonna take like another hour and a half. So we need to wait for that to finish because everything else actually needs to go into the oven. I don't wanna pre-prep that cobbler either because it will get mushy. So we'll do that right before it's ready to go in. We'll come back when that chicken is ready to come out of the oven. I just checked the temperature on the chicken and actually took it out. This is what it looks like. It is not burnt. It's just, that's the camera, but it is really good. So I just have this tented right now. I checked the temperature and it was actually reading at 170 for most of the bird, except for a little tiny part of the breast. It was actually reading 155, I think. So it really needs to go up another 10 degrees on that certain breast part. So what I did is I tented the chicken. I am going to probably put it back into the oven right before we eat. That way it can heat back up and then get that little part that's not, I mean, it might still continue to cook because I did tent it with foil, but we'll double check before we eat it because I want to make sure that the chicken is 165 everywhere, not trying to get food poisoning. I have out a 11x7 tiny little Pyrex casserole dish. I am going to get my peaches drained because I don't want all of that liquid in there. Some of it is okay, but we don't want a majority of that liquid. So we're just gonna get these drained off. Kind of scoop them in here. Don't worry, I have clean hands. Now some of the liquid is coming out and that's perfectly fine. I'm trying to decide, this is how much peaches we have in here. I'm trying to decide if I actually want to put another jar of peaches in here. I wish I had like a pint size because that would be perfect to top this up. I don't think I'm going to put any more peaches in it because that's going to be probably too much peaches. It's just the two of us right now, so I don't think I'm going to put any more in. To this, we're just going to add a 1/4 cup of sugar and we're just going to kind of stir that sugar in with the peaches. This recipe is so delicious. This is also a really yummy sweet breakfast to have, but I love to have this as a dessert in peach season. And this is pretty much the only reason why I actually can peaches is just to make this particular recipe in the winter, because it just reminds me so much of like July when it's hot and everything is just fresh and in season. I just love this recipe. Okay, so we have that sugar mixed in with that. We're gonna put this aside. We also need to get the oven preheated at 350. In this bowl, I have 1/2 cup of melted butter, so 1 stick of butter. We're just gonna add it to this bowl. And then we're gonna add 3/4 cup of white sugar. This recipe is definitely not a low sugar recipe. This has a lot of sugar in it. And then we're gonna add about 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of flour. I'm just using an all-purpose flour to this. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're gonna add a pinch of salt. And then we're just gonna stir this together and get it all incorporated. It will end up being like a really, I'll show you what it's a thick batter. It's not gonna be runny at all. This is what the batter looks like. It is a very like thick dough-like batter. We're gonna take the sugar and the peaches that we set aside, and now all you do is you just take this mixture and you literally just kind of like drop it on top. You don't have to worry about it getting like even everywhere. You can make bigger clumps too. If you like biscuit size clumps on top of it, you could do that too. I just like it kind of evenly spread throughout the top, so this is how I do it. So our oven is actually preheated pretty quickly. Because we were cooking the chicken in it, that oven was already pretty hot. So now we're just gonna get this cobbler into the oven. And it says that it has to cook for about 30 minutes. So we will set the timer for 30 minutes and then we'll come and check it. Timer just went off. We're gonna carefully take this out without spilling it. We need to get some sugar and we're just gonna sprinkle some on top of it. Recipe calls for 1/4 cup. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and just sprinkle this on here. Now we need to get this back in the oven for another 10 minutes. It says Bake another 10 minutes and then finish with a few minutes under the broiler just to get that sugar nice and brown and bubbly and kind of caramelized. And then it also says to let it sit for 30 minutes before you eat it. That way it helps kind of get everything nice and cooled down. So we'll get this back in for another 10 minutes. So this is what it's looking like. Oh! Okay, we just fogged up. Hold on. There you go. So I am going to set this onto a broil. It's starting to brown up pretty quickly. So what I'm gonna do in the meantime, I'm gonna get our frozen broccoli and I'm just gonna put it into our strainer basket just so that it can sit until we're ready to eat it. I'm not going to get those squash done just yet. I wanna have them really nice and hot and crispy when we go to eat them. And it's only 4:30, so I'm probably gonna get them started around like 5:30-ish. So we'll come back to do those, but I just want, these are okay to start defrosting. And I'm pretty sure that that is actually done. So we're gonna take it out now. There we go, all done. We are just gonna leave that sit and relax for 30 minutes. Obviously we're not gonna eat it now anyways because it's for dessert. And like I said, we're not gonna get that squash done until like probably around maybe 5:30 we'll come back and do that. So I'm just gonna go up because I'm still trying to get that video edited for you guys. So I'm gonna go up and do that, and then once it is time to get the squash ready, we'll come back and then I'll show you how I'm planning on doing that fun experiment. We're gonna get these in the oven now, so I'm just gonna get these rinsed off. So just have a colander, just drain these off. I'm hoping this experiment works. Just have a lined cookie sheet here with a silicone mat. Not sure how well this is going to work. I also have the oven preheated at 400. So let's get these put on here. Now these are super soft. I don't know, you can't really see, but they're really soft. They have a lot of moisture in it. It's kind of like a pumpkin. So I don't know how well this is gonna go. Again, we're experimenting. So I'm just gonna add some salt and pepper onto these. I'm just thinking, do I wanna add butter? Because these are already really wet to begin with. And if I add butter, I'm wondering if that's gonna make it even more of a sloppy mess. Let's just put salt and pepper on them for now, and then we'll check them. You know, I was kind of had in my mind envisioning making like a sweet potato fry kind of thing, but these are a lot more wet than a sweet potato, so I don't know if that vision is going to produce those results. Yeah, see, look at it, it's all now like becoming mushed together. Okay, well, we'll just do it this way. Just do it this way. We may end up mashing these and having mashed squash. Okay, so we gotta wait for that oven to preheat. I want to show you guys what these sweet potatoes, or they're not sweet potatoes, what these butternut squashes look like. Just check them. This is what they're looking like. They are still like mush, hot mush. So I think what I'm gonna do now is, because they are cooked through, they're not gonna crisp up. They just have way too much moisture in them for them to crisp up. I think I'm just gonna take these and I'm just gonna mash them, and it's gonna be kind of like a mashed sweet potato, I guess. Because again, they're not gonna crisp up, and I don't want to wait to find out that they're not gonna crisp up. So I'm gonna put the chicken back into the oven just to get it nice and warm. probably put that back in for maybe 10 minutes. In the meantime, we will get these butternut squash all mashed up. So these are going to the chickens because I just tasted a little bit of it and I don't know how much salt I just put on that, but I think I like poured a handful because this tastes like a salt slab, a mushy salt slab. So, so frustrating. I was really hoping for the best with these and they absolutely did not turn out good at all. So disappointing, and I don't really have time to make like another kind of side. So we're just gonna have broccoli and chicken because I don't have time to make another side, and it is already 6 o'clock. So chicken food, which is fine. Yeah, we're just waiting on the chicken to get warmed up. I'm making this. So I took the chicken out. I put this on because this is a quick side. This is our last box we actually have of this. It's just a really quick and easy side. So what I'm gonna do is take this chicken now, put it onto this tray, and I'm just gonna slice it up. There is a lot of good juices at the bottom of this pan. So what I wanna do is make a gravy with those. So I'm just gonna take this chicken and put it over here. So I just emptied them in here. I'm gonna go and put this on the stove top. Let's get this sliced up first though. I'm gonna actually probably turn this around. This is the chicken. It's so good. I tried a little bit. I'm gonna put that to the side. So we have the leftover carcass left over. I'm just gonna let it cool down for probably an hour, and then I'm gonna put it in a bag and put it in the freezer, and then with this I will make chicken stock with it. I just don't have the mental capability right now to be doing that project. For some reason, all of a sudden, it's like when that squash did not work out, I just kind of hit a wall. So yeah, I guess I'm just tired now. So I'm gonna put this in a bag, put it in the freezer, and then we'll get back to it for another day, and then we'll make stock with it. And then also, I'm not feeling making gravy right now. I don't think that me or Steven will eat it, so I don't wanna waste my time. I am going to save it though and put it into a jar because I can definitely do something with it later. So that's where we're at. This macaroni is almost done, so we're gonna strain that and get that put together. All right, so we have the macaroni finished. We took the broccoli out of the microwave and the chicken is all cut up and ready. So it is a supper time. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I will come back at the end of the video and show you guys what the peach cobbler looks like also, and of course always show you my plate. So I hope you guys have a great day or night whenever you're watching this, and I will see you on the next video. Bye guys. There's my plate. Super yum. Chicken is pretty tender, which is nice. I'm gonna go enjoy supper. Here's my yummy peach cobbler. It's so good. I tried a little bite already. This would taste really, really good if you put like whipped cream on top or even like a vanilla ice cream. Super good dessert. Thanks again for watching, guys.